Welcome to today's transformation dive. Ever notice how scrolling Instagram feels way easier than opening your banking app? You're scrolling through pictures of perfectly curated lives, maybe even fantasizing about a future you think more money would instantly create, while the actual numbers behind your reality give you that little jolt of dread. It's almost comical how much energy we spend avoiding the thing we supposedly want more of: financial peace and freedom. You feel that familiar knot in your stomach, that whisper saying, "Just don't look." It's easier to work late, binge a show, or scroll endlessly than confront the numbers. We tell ourselves we'll deal with it later, when things are less crazy, when we have more time, or when a sudden lottery win makes it all irrelevant. Spoiler alert, lottery wins don't fix financial habits. They usually just amplify existing ones. This channel, Earn Flow Zone, is built on the belief that your financial future isn't some distant, magical destination. It's built one conscious decision, one clear action, one mindset shift at a time, starting right now. We're here to guide you out of that anxious loop of avoidance and into a space of clarity and control. It won't always be comfortable, but it will be empowering. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think, signaling to the universe and the algorithm that this is the kind of value you want. Also, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Let's build this community and share the journey. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. And the first step on that journey? It's literally facing the mirror, your financial mirror. You know the feeling. You open your banking app, maybe you see that credit card statement peeking out, or an email notification from the bank. And there it is, that flinch, that knot in your stomach, that low-grade anxiety whispering, "Just don't look." Ignorance is bliss, right? You tell yourself you're too busy. It's too complicated. This isn't just procrastination. It's a deep-seated human defense mechanism. We are hardwired to avoid pain, and for many, their financial reality feels like pain. We fall for the myth that avoiding the problem somehow makes it less real, or that it will magically resolve itself. And how many times have you fixated on skipping that single expensive coffee, convincing yourself that's the core issue? Yeah, right. That $8 smoothie totally broke your budget, not the 3 impulsive online purchases or the streaming subscriptions you forgot existed. The brutal, undeniable truth is this: avoidance is the single biggest barrier between you and financial control. It's exactly like trying to navigate a complex maze while refusing to take off the blindfold. You'll bump into walls, get lost, and waste endless energy, all because you're afraid to see where you actually are. Here's a surprising truth. The fear of looking is almost always worse than the reality. Once you see it, you can deal with it. You cannot change what you refuse to see. So here's a challenge. Try this for a week. Simply open your main banking app for 1 minute every single day. Just look. That's it. No big decisions yet. Just the simple act of seeing. That one habit can change everything. Okay, so you're here, ready to talk about financial growth, which is awesome. But let's be real for a second. There's this one hurdle almost everyone trips over right at the start, and it's incredibly common, yet rarely talked about head-on. It's the pain of awareness. You know you should look at your bank account balance, your credit card statement, your investment portfolio or lack thereof. But there's this active, powerful part of you that just resists hard. It's like your brain throws up a wall. Why does awareness hurt so much? It hurts because seeing the numbers, the real, unvarnished truth, means facing reality. It means confronting past mistakes you've made. That impulsive purchase, that month you completely ignored your budget. It means seeing your current limitations laid bare. Maybe your income simply isn't stretching as far as you need it to. Or perhaps that debt balance isn't shrinking at the superhero pace you hope for. It forces you to look at the potential consequences if things continue on the same trajectory. People often underestimate the emotional weight tied to these numbers. When you glance at your statement and see just how much you spent on takeout last month, despite promising yourself you'd cook more, it's not just a number, it's a confrontation with your own behavior, your impulses, maybe a moment of weak discipline, or even just the harsh, cold reality of your income versus your expenses. It's like stepping on the scale after a holiday binge. You know what you're likely to see, and you dread it because it confirms the actions you already suspect led you there. But here's the surprising, often uncomfortable truth. The fear of what you'll find is almost always far worse than the actual reality. Your imagination is a powerful, unchecked engine, and in the void of not knowing, it will fill the space with the absolute worst-case scenarios. It conjures monsters under the financial bed that probably aren't there, or at least aren't as big as you've imagined. This is a core concept in personal finance and growth. Lack of information breeds paralyzing anxiety, while information, even if it's bad news, provides a map. Knowing, even if it reveals a situation that isn't pretty, gives you power. It transforms vague, terrifying dread into concrete data points. It gives you a starting point, a specific problem to solve, instead of an amorphous, terrifying unknown. Think of it like looking at a truly messy room. The thought of cleaning it feels overwhelming until you just step in, look around, and realize, okay, it's bad, but it's mostly just clothes on the floor and some dishes. You know exactly where to start. So how do you break through this resistance wall? This one habit changed everything for me and countless others. Acknowledge the resistance without judgment. Just say, okay, I feel scared, anxious, resistant about looking at my money right now, and that's normal. Then, commit to an incredibly small, non-threatening action. Try this for a week. Sit down with the explicit intention of looking at your numbers for just 5 minutes. That's it. Not fixing, not planning, just looking. Tell yourself, out loud if you need to, I am just looking. I am not fixing anything yet. Open one financial statement or banking app. Just one. And then, for a mere 60 seconds, observe the first thing you see without judgment. Don't recoil. Don't sigh dramatically. At least try not to. Just look at that number or that transaction as if you were a neutral observer. This simple act breaks the paralysis and replaces imagination with data. It's the first step onto the path of taking control, because you can only navigate from where you are. Welcome to today's transformation dive into the earn flow zone. Feeling like you're just spinning your wheels with money? Maybe you hear about budgeting or tracking every penny, and it sounds like extra homework you don't have time for. Or worse, completely pointless when you're facing big financial mountains. Like, seriously, what difference does knowing you spent $5 on a coffee make when you have a $2,000 rent payment or a mountain of debt staring you down? It feels insignificant, right? Almost insulting. That feeling? That overwhelm or dismissal of the small stuff. That's exactly where many people get stuck. They look for the silver bullet, the huge raise, the winning lottery ticket, the miracle cure for their finances. But often, the real power, the real transformation, lies not in the dramatic sweep, but in the quiet accumulation of small, intentional actions and shifts in perspective. This channel, Earn Flow Zone, is all about unlocking that potential within you, transforming your money story, your mindset, and ultimately, your life. We break down the big, scary topics into practical steps, shifting from feeling powerless to feeling in control, one actionable strategy at a time. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content that cuts through the noise and gives you tools you can use today, hit like and subscribe. Seriously, it helps way more than you think, telling YouTube this content matters and getting it out to more people who need it. While you're at it, drop a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from around the world, or share your biggest money habit win. Maybe it's finally tracking expenses or saving consistently, or just thinking about money differently. I love hearing your stories. Okay, enough preamble. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success, starting with something that feels small, but is anything but. You hear about tracking every penny, and honestly, for a lot of people, that phrase lands with a thud. It feels overwhelming, maybe even a little bit pointless, especially if you're buried in debt or just scraping by. The internal dialogue goes something like this. What difference does painstakingly tracking that $5 coffee make when my rent is $2,000, or my car payment is $500, or my student loans are suffocating me? This is an incredibly common and powerful trap, believing that only the big expenses, the huge income jumps, or some grand financial maneuver can truly fix your situation. The subtle lie you tell yourself is that because the big stuff feels insurmountable, the small stuff simply doesn't matter. The myth is clear. Small money isn't worth your attention or tracking. But here's the surprising and perhaps uncomfortable truth. Tracking isn't just about finding small things to cut, like axing that single $5 coffee. It's fundamentally about revealing your patterns and your habits. Think of it less like counting individual ingredients, the coffee, the snack, the parking fee, and more like understanding the recipe of your spending life. That daily $5 coffee isn't the problem in isolation. The habit of buying it, perhaps unthinkingly every morning, adds up rapidly. $5 a day, 30 days a month? That's $150 minimum. Yeah, that number hits differently, doesn't it? Suddenly, it's not a small expense anymore. It's a significant recurring outflow. But even beyond the dollar amount, tracking everything shows you something far more valuable: where your energy, attention, and subconscious decisions are actually going. It's like putting a fitness tracker on your daily activity. You might think you're active, but the tracker reveals you're only getting 3,000 steps a day when you thought it was 8,000. The individual steps aren't the issue. The overall pattern of low activity is. Financial tracking is the same. It reveals behavioral leaks or unconscious spending habits you never knew existed because they felt too small to notice individually. This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. You can't change a habit you don't know you have. You can't redirect funds you don't know are flowing away. Tracking gives you the data, the objective truth about how you're actually using your money, which is a direct reflection of your priorities, your stresses, and your comfort zones. Okay, so how do we turn this awareness into power? This is where the rubber meets the road. For the next 3 days, yes, just 3 days, I want you to try something. Track every single dollar you spend. And I mean every single dollar. That coffee, the parking meter, the snack you grab, the online purchase you made while scrolling, the tip jar money, literally everything. Use a simple notes app on your phone, a small notebook you keep in your pocket, or a basic spreadsheet. The crucial part, do not judge, just record. This is a data collection mission, not a guilt trip. Don't tell yourself I shouldn't have bought that. Just write it down. $5 coffee, 8:30 a.m. $2.50 parking, 10 a.m. $8.99 streaming subscription, auto-renew. No excuses, no exceptions for these 3 days. It's about seeing the truth. This simple act, this temporary commitment to radical transparency with your own money, is often the single most revealing exercise you can do. It lays bare the ground floor of your financial reality, showing you the foundation upon which everything else is built or isn't built. So whether you've done the 3-day tracking challenge or are just thinking about it, you're already engaging with a powerful concept. The single biggest takeaway from looking closely at your pennies isn't how much you spend, but how you spend, and more importantly, why. This awareness is your superpower. It allows you to stop making unconscious decisions with your money and start making conscious choices. That's where the long-term benefit kicks in. You gain control. You can identify those behavioral leaks and decide where that energy and money could be better directed towards paying down debt, building savings, investing, or funding experiences that truly matter to you. Ultimately, money isn't just numbers on a screen or paper in your wallet. It's a tool, a resource, and how you manage it is a reflection of your discipline, your priorities, and your relationship with security and freedom. Mastering your money isn't just about being good with math. It's about mastering yourself, understanding your own behavior, and aligning your spending with your deepest values. This journey, from feeling overwhelmed by the pennies to understanding the power of your patterns, is a massive step in personal growth. It requires honesty and courage to look at the raw data of your life. But on the other side of that discomfort is clarity, control, and the ability to intentionally build the financial future you truly desire. That's what we're all about here at Earn Flow Zone, giving you the insights and the practical steps to create that flow, that abundance, starting from where you are right now. Remember this as you continue your journey. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Okay, so you've taken the plunge. Maybe you tracked every single cent for a few days, or maybe you've pulled up a month's worth of bank statements. It probably feels like a chaotic spreadsheet right now, a jumbled list of transactions, groceries, gas, that streaming service you swear you were going to cancel last month, dining out way more than you planned, and probably 1 or 2 random purchases you've already completely forgotten about. It's easy to look at this list and just see data points, a dry collection of numbers. But what if I told you this isn't just a ledger? This is a narrative. This is your money's story. Think of your spending like a script, or maybe a fitness tracker for your financial life. It's telling you a very real, very honest story about how you're actually living, not just how you think you are. Every dollar spent is a sentence in this ongoing tale. It speaks volumes about your priorities, where you choose to invest your limited resources, both time and money. It highlights your impulse control, or perhaps the lack thereof, Those spur-of-the-moment decisions that add up faster than you think. It can even quietly reveal your stress levels. Maybe that extra takeout order wasn't about hunger, but a tough day. Here's the surprising and sometimes uncomfortable truth. Your spending is the most accurate reflection of your actual priorities. We all say we want to save for that down payment, pay off debt, or build an emergency fund. We have these grand, exciting financial goals. But when you look at the cold, hard data, your money might be telling a completely different story. If you claim saving for a big goal is paramount, but your bank statement shows a significant chunk consistently flowing towards entertainment, frequent dining out, or impulse shopping, there's a conflict. Your money story is contradicting your stated intentions. It's like saying you're training for a marathon, but spending all your free time watching TV. The actions don't match the goal. This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. It's about lifting the veil and seeing your financial life for what it is, without the filter of intention. This perspective shift is the core concept here. Understanding that your financial reality is built transaction by transaction, decision by decision, and those decisions paint a picture. A common myth is that tracking is just about budgeting. It's actually about introspection. It's a powerful tool for self-discovery. This one habit, looking honestly at where your money goes, can change everything because it forces you to confront the gap between aspiration and reality. So here's the action prompt, the next step in this transformation dive. Take that data you've gathered, your tracking list or a month's bank statement. Group those transactions into broad categories. We're not talking complicated budget software here, just simple buckets: housing, food, groceries, dining out, transport, entertainment, subscriptions, debt payments, savings. Now, step back and look at the distribution. What does this picture actually tell you about your life right now? What is your money story saying about your priorities, your habits, your daily choices? Try to look at it dispassionately, as if you're analyzing someone else's life. Be brutally, unapologetically honest with yourself. This insight is the fuel for real change. So you've pulled back the curtain and seen the raw, unfiltered story your money is telling. You have the data. You know where the euros, dollars, or pounds are actually flowing. Now, here's where the real transformation begins, and often where you uncover a genuinely surprising truth. We're going to take that financial map and hold it up against the story you truly want your life to tell. This is the powerful intersection of spending versus values. People often underestimate just how much misalignment exists between their actions and their deepest desires. You might sincerely value health above many things, yet when you look at the spending categories, there's little dedicated to nutritious food, a gym membership, or maybe even proper rest and self-care items. Perhaps you prize continuous learning and personal growth, dreaming of mastering a skill or diving into new knowledge, but find almost nothing allocated to books, courses, or workshops. Or maybe freedom is your ultimate goal. Freedom from debt, freedom to travel, freedom of time. But your spending reveals money constantly flowing into payments for things that tie you down rather than liberate you. The surprising, almost jarring insight here is how often unconscious spending actively works against our deepest, most cherished values. It's like trying to sail north while constantly adjusting your rudder to go south. We pick up things out of sheer habit, grabbing that fancy coffee every morning, even though you value saving. We buy out of convenience because it's easier than packing a lunch, chipping away at the value of preparation or health. Social pressure plays a huge role. You feel you have to keep up, spending on experiences or items that align more with someone else's perceived value system than your own. And let's not forget emotional spending. That quick retail therapy fix that momentarily soothes a bad day but diverts funds from things that would bring genuine, lasting joy or security. Someone who genuinely values experiences over physical possessions might look at their credit card statement and see a steady stream of impulse buys. Gadgets, clothes they don't need, subscriptions they don't use, while the travel fund or adventure budget remains stubbornly small. It feels like your money has a mind of its own, acting directly contrary to your intentions. This isn't about making you feel guilty or pushing for extreme deprivation. Absolutely not. It's about unlocking the incredible potential that comes from alignment. Imagine the power when your spending starts reinforcing your values instead of undermining them. It's about intentionality, about making conscious choices that steer your financial resources towards building the life you actually desire. It's about realizing that every dollar spent is a vote cast for the future you want to create. If your spending isn't voting for your values, you're essentially funding a life you don't really want. This one habit changed everything for me, connecting my spending directly to my core beliefs. So here is your next crucial step, building on the spending awareness you've gained. Action. Write down your top 3 to 5 core values. Think about what truly matters to you at your core. Security, growth, family, health, freedom, creativity, contribution, adventure. Get specific. Now, with that list in hand, look back at the spending categories you've uncovered. Ask yourself honestly, is your money flowing towards or away from these fundamental values? This comparison is often eye-opening, sometimes uncomfortable, but it's the necessary bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Now, let's talk about a game changer that people often pigeonhole: financial awareness. You might instinctively think, oh, tracking money is just for people who are broke and need to know where every penny goes. Or maybe that's something you only do when you have so much money you need a spreadsheet the size of a football field. But here's the surprising truth, the core concept you need to grasp. Financial awareness isn't a status symbol or a band-aid. It is the fundamental operating system for anyone who wants control at any level. It's like understanding the fuel gauge and engine performance of your car, regardless of whether you're driving a beat-up sedan or a luxury sports car. Both need monitoring to get you where you want to go safely and efficiently. For the broke beginner just trying to get by, awareness isn't about complex investments. It's about survival and identifying the leaks. Those small, often overlooked expenditures that could be redirected towards basic needs, or even finding that first few dollars to start building a tiny emergency fund. It's about finding clarity in chaos, locating those unexpected $10 or $20 opportunities. For the mid-earner, someone making decent money but maybe feeling stuck or overwhelmed by debt, awareness is about optimization. It's identifying where your money is really going beyond the bills, uncovering areas to strategically cut or reduce spending to accelerate debt payoff or boost savings and investing. You might think you spend $50 a week on coffee, but tracking reveals it's closer to $75. That $25 difference per week is over $1,300 a year. That insight isn't just information, it's potential power. And for the ambitious builder, the person focused on significant wealth accumulation, business growth, or large investments, awareness scales up. It's about crystal-clear cash flow analysis, pinpointing capital for reinvestment, identifying efficiencies in business operations, and accurately projecting future financial capacity. They are tracking coffee money, but perhaps the return on ad spend or the efficiency of a new service line. The surprising fact? Many people at higher income levels lose control because they assume their income compensates for lack of awareness. But without it, growth plateaus and opportunities are missed. Awareness simply scales with your ambition. A beginner might find $100 to start saving. A mid-earner might find $500 to invest. A builder might find $5,000 to reinvest or inject into their business. The cause-effect is simple. Awareness leads to insight. Insight leads to targeted action. And targeted action leads to progress, no matter how big or small the numbers are. So, let's make this concrete. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from getting this level of clarity? It's probably not complexity. The tools are simpler than ever. It's often just inertia or fear. Try this for a week. Identify your current primary financial goal right now. Is it saving a $500 emergency fund? Paying off a specific credit card debt? Saving for a down payment? Investing an extra $200 per month? Got it? Now, based on whatever spending awareness you currently have, even if it's just a gut feeling or looking at your last bank statement, where is one single potential area you could find money to move towards that specific goal this week? Don't overthink it. Just find one source. This one habit of linking awareness directly to action towards a goal changed everything for me, and it can for you too. Now that you face the numbers, the real journey begins. Awareness isn't the finish line, it's the crucial starting gun. Knowing precisely where your hard-earned money went last month or last week is profoundly powerful data. But the real power, the true shift towards financial control, comes from deciding intentionally where that money will go next. This is the critical pivot point. Moving from being a passive observer of your financial life to becoming its active architect. Think of it like checking the stats after a game. You see the scores, the plays, maybe where you made errors. That data isn't there to make you feel bad about missing that shot, though sometimes it does. It's there to inform how you practice, what plays you run next time, and how you strategize for the future game. Let's revisit an example we touched on earlier. You look at your spending tracker and see a line item that jumps out. Maybe it's the $400 spent on dining out. For many, that number can initially hit like a small punch to the gut. The immediate reaction might be guilt, shame, or frustration. But that's precisely the mindset trap we want to avoid. This data isn't a judgment, it's information, it's a clue. You now have two informed choices that you didn't have before you saw that number. You can look at it and genuinely say, you know what? I enjoyed those meals. They were valuable social experiences, and that aligns with my priorities right now. In which case, great. Your spending reflects your values. Or you might look at it and think, wow, I honestly had no idea it added up to that much. While I enjoy eating out, $400 is more than I intended or feel comfortable with given my other goals. Here's the surprising insight, the game changer that often gets missed. Awareness gives you the leverage to make intentional choices, not just react to your bank balance dwindling at the end of the month. Without knowing you spent $400 on dining out, any attempt to save more or spend less in that category next month is just a hopeful guess. You'd be shooting in the dark, but armed with the knowledge, you can make a specific, conscious decision. Okay, I'll aim for $200 next month and redirect the saved $200 towards my emergency fund, or debt repayment, or investing. That's not deprivation. That's intelligent reallocation based on your priorities. This shift from knowing to planning is where your financial trajectory truly begins to change. It's the difference between drifting down a river and steering a boat. Both involve water, but only one gets you to a chosen destination. People often underestimate the sheer power of simply deciding where money will go before it goes there. It feels so basic, almost too simple, yet most skip this crucial step, hoping things will just work out. Spoiler alert, they usually don't, at least not optimally. Your bank account can't read your mind or your goals. You have to give it instructions. Action time. Go back to your spending categories from the awareness phase. Look at that list again. Pick one category, maybe the one that surprised you the most, or the one that feels most out of alignment with your deeper values or financial goals. It could be dining out, subscriptions, clothing, entertainment, whatever stands out. Now, decide on a specific, realistic target amount for that one category for the next month. Just one. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Write that number down. This isn't a restrictive diet. It's your very first conscious decision in active financial planning, turning data into direction. This one habit, this deliberate decision for a single category can truly change everything by proving to yourself that you can influence where your money flows. Section 8. Simple tools work best. You've started thinking about your money differently. You understand the why behind tracking, the power of knowing where your cash actually goes. But then the inner voice pipes up, right? It whispers, "Oh, but you need special software for this. You need fancy budgeting templates that look like they came from NASA. You need a finance degree, probably. This is too complicated." People fall into this trap so easily. You look online, and bam, 1,000,000 apps, 1,000 different methods, spreadsheets that require a user manual thicker than a novel. It's overwhelming. It feels like you need a supercomputer just to figure out where you spent $5 on coffee. This complexity, it's often just another cleverly disguised form of avoidance. It gives your brain the perfect excuse to say, "Nope, too hard, not for me," and shut down before you even begin. The common myth is that financial clarity, that sense of control, requires sophisticated tools and expert-level skills. We see influencers with their elaborate charts and assume that's the baseline. But here's the surprising truth, the insight that changed everything for me and countless others. The simplest method you will actually stick to is infinitely better than the most complex, perfect system you abandon after just 3 days. Think of it like exercise. Buying the most expensive gym membership and all the latest gear means nothing if you never show up. But a simple pair of shoes and a commitment to walk around the block every day, that builds fitness. The tool doesn't do the work. Consistency does. And simplicity breeds consistency because it removes barriers. You don't need a Bloomberg terminal to track your latte purchases. A plain old notebook and a pen work perfectly. Just jot down what you spent and what it was on. Your phone's basic notes app totally works. Create a running list, a simple spreadsheet with just 3 columns: date, description, amount, is more than enough. The goal here isn't perfect, double-entry accounting worthy of a Fortune 500 company. The goal is visibility. It's about seeing where your money is going so you can make conscious choices, not operate blindfolded. You can't steer a ship if you don't know if you're heading north or south. Why does simplicity work so well? Because it reduces friction. There's no app to learn, no login to forget, no complex formulas to mess up. It's immediate and accessible. The cause-effect is clear. Simple tool means less effort to use. Less effort means you're more likely to use it consistently. Consistency gives you the data you need. Data allows you to make smarter decisions. Smarter decisions lead to financial growth. It's a direct line, unobstructed by unnecessary complexity. It's like trying to make a simple sandwich. You just need bread, filling, maybe a knife. You don't need a commercial bread slicer or a 5-burner stove. So here's the action step, and this is where you put this concept to the test. Forget the fancy stuff for a moment. Choose one simple method for ongoing financial awareness. Will it be a notebook and pen? Will it be the basic Notes app on your phone? Will it be a ridiculously simple spreadsheet with only the essentials? Pick one. Don't overthink it. Whichever feels easiest right now. And commit to using it, just jotting things down as you spend, consistently for 1 week. Try this for a week. Focus entirely on the habit of capturing the data, not on analyzing it or using the perfect tool. Just the simple, consistent act of making your money visible. You'll be surprised how quickly this simple habit reveals insights, far more than any complex system you never even opened. This is where the power truly lies. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive. All right, let's be honest. Who here doesn't secretly believe that lottery ticket is their best retirement plan? Yeah, I thought so. We all have those moments where we'd rather bury our heads in the sand than look at that growing stack of bills or the number in our bank account. It feels heavy, sometimes even a little shameful. But guess what? That feeling, it's not a life sentence. It's just a sign that you're ready for a change, ready to step into the driver's seat of your financial life, instead of being a passenger hoping the brakes work. This isn't about shame. It's about empowerment. It's about realizing that financial freedom isn't some magical land reserved for the gurus on Instagram with perfect smiles and infinity pools. It's built, brick by brick, habit by habit, right where you are now. And honestly, the biggest barrier isn't usually how much money you make, but how you think about the money you interact with every single day. We're about to break down some of those mental walls and build something solid, something real. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Seriously, it's like sending a high five through the internet, and we all need more of those. Also, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. No matter how small, celebrating wins keeps the momentum going. We're building a community here, a zone of growth and flow. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Section 9. Building Financial Confidence. When you first keel back the layers and start really looking at your money, the income, the expenses, the debt, the savings, it can feel like walking into a dark, dusty attic you haven't visited in years. It might stir up feelings of anxiety, confusion, maybe even some deep-seated shame about past choices, or simply not knowing where to start. People often underestimate the emotional weight tied to their finances. It's not just numbers on a screen. It's connected to our sense of security, our dreams, our perceived value, and even our freedom. This initial fear is totally normal, almost universal. It's the discomfort before growth, the friction before liftoff. But here's the surprising part. The part most people miss because they stop before they get here. As you consistently track, observe patterns, and start making conscious choices, something profound shifts internally. The fear begins to dissipate, not because the numbers miraculously improve overnight, though they often do over time, but because you change. It's like finally turning on the lights in that attic. You see the cobwebs, yes, maybe even a few forgotten monsters under old sheets, but you also see the structure, the potential space, the things you can organize or clear out. The unknown becomes the known, and knowledge is power. You realize you're no longer a passive passenger bracing for impact on a financial roller coaster driven by external forces. You're grabbing the controls. You become the driver, making informed decisions about where your money goes and what you want it to do for you. This isn't magic, it's mastery. The surprising insight that often hits people is that financial awareness is very much like a muscle. When you first start exercising, even a light jog feels tough. Your muscles ache, and you might doubt you can continue. But the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Similarly, the more you engage with your finances, track income and expenses, analyze your spending, and make conscious choices, the stronger your financial awareness muscle becomes. The initially daunting tasks, setting a budget, reviewing bank statements, calculating net worth, become less intimidating and more like a regular part of your routine. You move from a place of anxiety, fueled by the unknown, to empowerment, driven by the known. This isn't about having a perfect budget from day one or suddenly becoming a millionaire. Building financial confidence isn't achieved by magically having more money. It's built by mastering the money you already have. It's about understanding its flow, directing it intentionally, and feeling secure in your ability to manage it, no matter the amount. This foundation of understanding removes the power of the unknown and hands the power back to you. This fundamental shift is incredibly important because it's the bedrock upon which all future financial growth is built. You can't strategically invest or aggressively save if you're too scared to even look at your current situation. One surprising habit that reinforces this is scheduling regular money check-ins, like you would a doctor's appointment or a workout. It demystifies the process and turns it into a normal part of life, reducing the anxiety associated with spontaneous, fear-driven glances. Try this for a week. Just spend 15 to 20 minutes each day, or one dedicated hour this week, looking at your accounts. Not judging, just observing the flow. As an action, reflect on how you felt before you started looking at your money seriously versus how you feel now, even after just a few days or one session of looking with intentionality. Acknowledge any small shift towards feeling more informed or less anxious. This progress is real, and it's the most important step you can take towards lasting financial confidence. Section 12. Wind down, reflective close. So, as we wrap up this segment of our journey, let's slow things down and really absorb what we've discussed. If there's one big takeaway from diving into areas like building financial confidence, it's this. Your financial reality is a direct reflection of your consistent financial habits, and more importantly, your underlying mindset. It's not about luck or complex formulas or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about showing up consistently and courageously for yourself and your financial future. The power isn't in wishing things were different, it's in actively making them different, one small, informed decision at a time. The potential long-term benefit of cultivating financial awareness and building that inner confidence is profound. It's not just about numbers in an account. It's about peace of mind. It's about reducing stress, opening up possibilities, and gaining the freedom to make choices that truly align with your values and dreams, rather than being dictated by fear or obligation. Imagine the weight lifted when you know exactly where you stand and have a clear path forward. That sense of control, of being the deliberate architect of your life rather than a passive observer, is invaluable. A deeper insight here is recognizing that money is a tool, but your relationship with that tool is built on your beliefs, your discipline, and your willingness to learn and adapt. Growth, whether personal or financial, is rarely a straight line up. There will be challenges, setbacks, moments of doubt. But the confidence you build by facing your finances head-on, by treating your money like a muscle you train, is what allows you to navigate those moments with resilience and clarity. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about understanding that true financial security comes not just from the amount of money you have, but from your unwavering belief in your ability to manage, grow, and protect it. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Okay, you might be sitting here listening to all this talk about tracking, budgeting, planning, and maybe thinking, okay, this sounds like a lot of work. Is it really necessary? What happens if I just don't? Let's be honest. It's easier to scroll through TikTok or watch cat videos than to stare at your bank statement sometimes. But let's talk about the silent, often invisible, cost of choosing financial ignorance. What happens if you decide this is just too hard, too overwhelming, and you simply go back to avoiding your money altogether? You continue to drift. It's like sailing without a compass or destination. You're just at the mercy of the currents. You'll likely keep overspending in areas you genuinely don't value, maybe subscriptions you never use, impulse buys that bring fleeting joy, or eating out when you plan to cook. You'll continue undersaving for goals you claim to want, whether that's a down payment, retirement, or just a simple emergency fund. And instead of steering your financial ship, you'll remain reactive, constantly bracing for the next financial surprise, an unexpected bill, a car repair, or a medical expense. Instead of proactively planning and preparing for them, you live with that persistent, low-grade hum of anxiety about money. It's not a sudden panic attack for most, but more like a constant background noise, never quite knowing where you stand, if you'll be okay next month, or if you're secretly digging yourself into a hole. This feeling can be incredibly draining. It saps your mental energy and can even affect your sleep or relationships. You miss opportunities, big and small. Opportunities to invest early and let compounding work its magic. Opportunities to pay off high-interest debt faster and free up cash flow. Or even simple opportunities to enjoy your money more, because you don't have a clear picture of what you can actually afford or what's truly possible. Here's the truly surprising insight, the part most people miss. The cost of avoiding financial awareness isn't just potential debt or lost savings, though those are real. It's the ongoing mental burden, that constant low hum of worry, and perhaps most critically, the forfeiture of your financial agency. You remain a passenger in your own financial life, often feeling like a victim of circumstance when things go wrong, rather than stepping into the role of a creator, someone actively shaping their financial future. It's like playing a video game on the hardest difficulty, blindfolded. You can move, but success is mostly luck, and failure feels inevitable and confusing. Let's make this real. Try this exercise for a few minutes. Imagine your financial life not just next month, but in 5 years. If you don't gain consistent awareness, if you continue avoiding the numbers, continue reacting instead of planning, what specific opportunities might you miss? Will you still be dreaming about that trip or that down payment but no closer to it? What financial problems might worsen? Will debt accumulate? Will that low-grade anxiety become a high-grade one? Be specific. Paint a picture of the potential consequences of staying on the path of avoidance. What does drifting really look like for you in 5 years? Making awareness a habit. Welcome back to Earn Flow Zone. We've talked a lot about strategies, investments, and cutting expenses, but none of that truly sticks without a bedrock foundation: awareness. And here's the thing. Awareness isn't like flicking a switch or having one grand revelation. It's much more like, like brushing your teeth. You don't do it perfectly every single time for the rest of your life after one try, right? You do it consistently. That's the core concept here, making financial awareness an ongoing, non-negotiable habit. We often treat tracking our money or reviewing our finances as a chore we should do when we have time, or maybe a panicked sprint when things feel tight. But imagine if you treated your dental hygiene that way, or your car maintenance. Things would break down. Instead, think of financial awareness as a daily or weekly tune-up for your financial health. Consistency, not perfection, is absolutely key. You will miss days. Seriously, you will. You'll forget to log a coffee purchase, or a small online order will slip your mind. You might even have a whole week where life gets crazy and your budget app feels like a distant dream. And guess what? That's perfectly okay. Normal, even. The trap isn't missing a day. The real danger is letting that missed day turn into a missed week, which then spirals into a missed month. And suddenly, you're back where you started, wondering where all your money went. People often underestimate the power of simply getting back on the horse immediately. It's not about guilt. It's about momentum. Think of it like falling off a bike. The longer you wait to get back on, the scarier it feels. With financial awareness, if you miss Monday's check-in, make sure you do Tuesdays. If you miss the whole week, block out 15 minutes on Sunday to catch up. Just don't let the gap widen. This mindset shift is crucial. It moves you from self-recrimination to simple, practical course correction. It's not about having superhuman discipline. It's about building a resilient system. And here's the surprising insight that often separates those who succeed with money habits from those who constantly struggle. Building this habit is less about sheer willpower and much more about setting smart reminders and creating easy routines. Willpower is a finite resource. It gets drained by decisions throughout the day. Relying on it for financial tracking is like trying to power your house with a single battery. It just won't last. What works? Linking your financial awareness practice to an existing, deeply ingrained habit. Do you always have a morning coffee? Make reviewing your checking account part of that quiet time. Do you scroll social media before bed? Swap 10 minutes of scrolling for 10 minutes of tracking expenses. The cue is already there. You're just adding a new action to an old trigger. Alternatively, just schedule it like you would any important appointment. Put financial review on your calendar for Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. for 15 minutes. Set a recurring alarm on your phone that says Money Check-in. The act of scheduling makes it real, non-negotiable time. Start small, maybe just 10 minutes every Sunday afternoon to glance at the past week's transactions and categorize a few things. It doesn't have to be an hour-long deep dive initially. The goal is presence, not perfect accounting from day one. This one habit, the simple, consistent practice of looking at your money, changed everything for me. It's like finally turning the lights on in a room you've been fumbling around in. So, here is your prompt for action right now. Decide when and how often you will actively engage in your financial awareness practice each week. Will it be 10 minutes every morning? 15 minutes every Sunday? A quick 5-minute check-in 3 times a week? Make the decision. Then, here's the critical step. Put it on your calendar or set a recurring alarm on your phone immediately after watching this video. Don't wait. Try this for a week. Just stick to that scheduled time, even if it's only for 10 minutes. See what happens when awareness becomes a non-negotiable part of your routine, rather than a task relying solely on willpower. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from adding this simple block of time to your schedule? So, we've spent some time talking about something fundamentally uncomfortable, but incredibly powerful. Looking your financial reality square in the eye. This isn't some scary monster under the bed. It's just your numbers. Radical awareness, we called it. And honestly, it's the bedrock. It's the one thing that gives you the power to steer your ship. Align your spending with what actually matters to you. Make plans that stick and build confidence. Whether you're making minimum wage or 7 figures, we talked about that nagging voice, maybe whispering that your small transactions don't matter. Busted that myth, didn't we? Because every small coffee, every impulse buy isn't just money spent. It's a breadcrumb trail showing you exactly where your financial energy is going. It's the map. And simple tools, like just looking, are often the most effective because they cut through the noise and put you directly in touch with reality. That moment of awareness isn't about judgment. It's about transforming that knot of fear into a sense of empowerment. It's like turning on a light switch in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see everything. This journey isn't about being financially perfect tomorrow or instantly wealthy. Nope, it's about clarity. It's about intentionality. It's about taking control. If you walk away from this lesson and decide not to look, well, it's like choosing to keep the blindfold on. You stay stumbling in the dark, hoping things magically get better, but constantly surprised by overdrafts, bills, or just that general feeling of where did it all go? You carry that silent burden of the unknown, and honestly, you forfeit your power. You lose the ability to choose where your money actually goes and shape your future. You stay reactive, maybe even feeling stuck in a paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Yes, people making a lot of money can feel that way too, because you simply don't have the map of your own financial world. But the path to financial flow, that sweet spot where your money actually supports your life and goals, instead of being this constant source of stress, it starts here. It begins with seeing clearly. It starts with removing that blindfold. No matter how much your gut might clench at the thought, think of it like the first step into a cold swimming pool. You dread it, but once you're in, it's exhilarating. And that brings us to the single most important action you can take right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. It's not fixing anything. It's not budgeting. It's just looking. Your absolute first step today. Open your primary banking app or website. Seriously, pull out your phone right now if you can. Or make a note to do it the second this video ends. Spend exactly 5 minutes. Set a timer if you need to. Don't let yourself scroll Instagram instead. Scrolling through your transactions just from the last week. Just scroll. Don't analyze, don't judge, don't beat yourself up. Just look. See the numbers. See the places. That's it. 5 minutes of facing the mirror. Do that today, and then make a commitment to doing it again tomorrow and the day after. This incredibly simple, almost ridiculously easy act, this is where your power truly begins. It's the first step in building that muscle of awareness, because in the end, financial freedom isn't built on complex spreadsheets initially. It's built on simple, consistent actions like this. It's built on the courage to see, the discipline to show up for 5 minutes, and the understanding that you are in control of gaining this clarity. That small 5-minute habit, repeated daily, is the domino that can knock over years of financial stress and build a foundation for genuine flow. It's not just about the money. It's about reclaiming your agency, piece by piece. Ultimately, your outer financial world will always reflect your inner financial habits.